All right, everybody, how we doing today? Just starting a live. Sorry, it took a little bit longer. I have a friend here named nakmeezy, so we're going to go on. I'm actually going to open up the turn on my camera. All right, nakmeezy, what's going
Uh,
on? How we doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you. I can turn mine on, but I'm literally in my car and it's evening where I am, so you're not going to see much.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's going on, Mr. Condor?
Okay, so let me just before we begin, let me just just give you an insight what I'm about. I'm basically a digital content creator, right? I'm a Colombian YouTuber. I have a small channel. I
Hmm.
try to do videos in English and Spanish, even though most of them are in English. So recently, I've been getting into some issues with the Passport Bro group. Now, I understand that not every single male traveler is what they call a Passport Bro or what people think Passport Bros are. There's
Right.
different. There's a subset of that group of people who travel who are going to Colombia and not only that, Brazil and everybody everywhere else, and they're getting into trouble and they're doing illegal things. So
Hmm.
there has been issues with the Colombian people, not just me as well, where my Colombian people are starting to get irritated and angry. Not just guys, but women also as well. Like there was an issue years ago where they had this one, what I call him a white passport bro. His name is John Polos, right? Dude was from Texas. He flies down there. He was previously married, and he had a child who had cancer. The child beat cancer. He was divorcing his wife. He had a DJ girlfriend. He was sending her money. She was using his money to send her real boyfriend on trips and stuff like that. And he ended up unaliving her. So when I make my videos online and I talk about, thank God that the black women are talking about the video that you responded to, that thank God that she's exposing them. I didn't mean black men per se. I meant that
Hmm.
subset of people that are going down there to do illegal things. And that's the reason why you came in. And then that's the reason why we got into this whole conversation. I just want to give you a little, a little bit of a setting before we begin. Now, go ahead. What would you like to say?
No, so yeah, that was the video that I commented on because it
Hmm.
appeared that it was like using a black woman to go after black passport bros. After
Hmm.
you responded, I actually went to your channel and you've featured white dudes too. So I'm like, okay, it's you're looking at it from the place of that they're not all black, which they're not,
Hmm.
but the passport bro moniker is pretty much people look at it as it's a black thing. All right, the creator of the passport bros or the guy who owns a trademark is a black guy. There's like this dispute over who actually owns it, so it's a bunch of brothers, right? And
Hmm.
from my personal position is that I think you're a lame if you have to travel the world just to get laid, all right? And to have sex with women who are from a a lower social economic status, which to me means exploitation, okay?
Hmm.
So my introduction to the passport bros is really on that point
Yeah.
and just going at them. I don't know if you looked at some of my live streams, but
I heard.
I'm anti passport bro,
Hmm.
but I'm pro black traveler. I do think
Yeah.
that Americans, specifically black Americans, should travel and should be ambassadors for Americans, specifically black Americans, and not make us look like crap
Hmm.
overseas. So that's my thing. So now when I said about the white guys, we already discussed that.
Hmm.
We can get into more stuff about Colombia if you want, but you're the Colombian. Are you in the tri-state area?
I am actually in South Florida, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. I'm from New York, so we have a lot of Colombians in New York too.
Oh, yeah. Like when I first came to New York City, because when I first came to the United States, I lived in New York City. I lived in Queens, in
Queens,
that
of course.
Jamaica,
That's
Queens.
where all the Colombians are. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, I just wanted to let everybody know that we don't have an issue if you are of any color and you go to Colombia and you meet up with a woman and you have intercourse with her. It's okay. It's none of my business. And also, people get on this thing, not you, but people get on this thing is like, well, why are you so mad that prostitution exists? I'm going to say this for everybody who's watching. In Colombia, it is considered legal and is considered a form of protected work. I believe that there should be more protection for the women to avoid abuse, right?
Right.
We don't have a problem with that. The problem is the people who do abusive things, like unaliving women, like little kids, doing certain sex acts in public, which is considered not good because Colombian society is very much is very much a very conservative culture. What people see on the internet, they only see that one particular block where all the guys walk around with the women. But if you see an entire city or even entire cities where you don't see that the majority is not like that. And I actually have a white passport bro like literally attacking me left and right in my comments. Uh, and I can't reach out to him yet because I'm actually making a video against Skylar the Ruin. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, he's featured me on his channel as well. I've had
Oh,
a couple of debates. He didn't feature me in a bad way, but I had a debate where I went at it with kind of a leader. I don't want to call him a leader of Passport Bros, but a guy who represents black travelers,
uh-huh.
kind of painting what I thought was an unrealistic view of Thailand.
Okay.
I train in Thailand because I'm a Muay Thai fighter and trainer
Yeah.
actually currently.
I think you have to watch
So
it.
I know who he is. I think he was Brazil based for a while,
He's
but
still there
yeah,
right now.
look. So look, I applaud a man that is really speaking up for vulnerable people in this country, right? My only
Uh-huh.
issue was that I thought you were ignoring the white guys who actually are the
No.
original passport bros. The white
Yeah.
men are the original passport bros. They've been going to Brazil, they've been going to Africa doing
Yeah.
ungodly things to African women, the Dominican Republic. So if it's evenly spread and you're just sticking up for the women of your country, I support you 100%.
Well, yeah, yeah. Like, 'cause I even seen Chinese passport bros and Asians and stuff like that. So that's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that when you saw my video, I was actually responding to a specific person at a specific amount of time.
Mm,
And the
okay.
thing is this, I want to say two quick things. There's another Colombian YouTuber like me. His name is Andres Unearth. He's kept living in Colombia for the past 2 years. And he was talking about the Civil War because we have the longest civil war in the Western Hemisphere, right? And one guy makes a comment in his comment section that says, "We don't care about the Civil War. We care about the women only." So he
Mm,
responded to that saying, "This is why Colombians don't like gringos." Skylar de Ruin
right.
saw that and he made a comment towards him saying that yeah they go do debauchery that we have to put up with it because they have money and everything else. Now, for my issue is one of the main things that started my channel was a Colombian woman had, I think his name is Colby, in a WhatsApp group basically stated that the what we consider passport bros because we see them differently, right? In Colombia,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know it started up as a movement between men of color and everything else, if I can say it that way.
Right.
She said, "You just guys search for prostitutes and you don't care about the culture and everything else." So he started going after her, attacking my people, and I started going off on him, defending him. So everybody gets picks and choose because they don't see the whole video. So they think, oh, because I've been labeled a racist from white guys, I've been labeled a racist from black guys.
Right.
I've been labeled a racist from like all sorts of people. So when people come in, they're coming halfway into the conversation and they're not understanding what I'm going on, you know.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, kind of like I did.
yeah.
So look, let's have a deep conversation, right?
Okay.
What? And my point is always going to be: I do not support sex
Uh-huh.
tourists. I do not support the exploitation of women of any country, and salute to you for standing up for that.
Right.
So we have the foreign people that are going there. You have passport bros. There's actually almost like a passport bro civil war where they're trying to really establish who can be called a passport bro because you have like unscrupulous travelers. So they're trying to they're trying to clean up the image, so to speak. In my opinion, it's too late. But what onus or responsibility did you put on the Colombian government to create a situation where mothers and their
You want
children out there to
uh-huh.
be exploited by Colombians and foreigners?
Well, here's the thing: the Colombian president has stated that he will not allow that type of tourism to go to Colombia where people are exploited, and he's literally said, if you come to Colombia and you find the love of your life, we don't have a problem with that, but it has to be
Mm-hmm.
not a power play in insinuating that you're using them for that they don't have the ability to choose, right? Because they're forced to.
Right.
What is the Colombian government doing? It is okay. Number one, it depends on which city you're talking about because most people. I have to give you the background. Okay, the president of Colombia, he used to belong to a left-wing guerrilla group called the April 19 movement. And some cities, like the
Mm-hmm.
city of Medellin, which is a popular passport bro tourist destination, they're very conservative. They're anti-against them, but they've been working together where they've been looking for people and they've been trying to on one side they've been trying to stop passport bros from coming in because they're doing this thing where they're looking at social media They're trying to see your history and everything else, and they've been turning people away at the airport. However, they are doing social programs where they're trying to educate the local people that they have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to do better and the ability to not fall into traps like that. And it's always hard
Good.
like that because Colombia being a country, I'm going to say third world or a developing country, they don't have
Right.
the same resources as here in the United States. Some kids fall into that, unfortunately. They fall into drugs and everything else, and people will do the things that they need to do to survive. It feels like a losing battle. They have been trying to alert people, but the problem is that there's only in specific cities, like what I call the big three: Cartagena, Bogota, and Medellin, because you don't see that in most other cities. I've been to a lot of other cities in small towns. You don't see like open door streetwalkers everywhere and stuff like that. It's usually more like a hidden type of thing. So yeah,
Right.
they've been trying to do like community outreach programs, teach people
Okay.
skills, education and everything else. Like my friend's sister, she's a labor and delivery nurse in the city of Cartagena, and she was working with the military in a military program, and she'll go to like a lot of these small towns, do community outreach, teach them about sex education, about abuse, resources, and everything else. So they have been trying, but it's like a losing battle. So I can't say Colombia has been perfect in that.
Okay. Look, as long as they attack it on the local front, from a national standpoint
Hmm.
and from a tourist standpoint, then I applaud them. It's
Hmm.
gonna be hard to police it because I think anyone that's really going out there with nefarious reasons is gonna try their best to mask it. So I saw on one of
Yeah.
your videos you mentioned that they don't go traveling here, they don't go traveling there. I mean, I think the future is probably going to be them creating fake or real itineraries as a cover to have access to women. Now,
Yeah.
while I disagree with, I think it's simpy. I think you're a loser if you got to travel for buns. But if it's not illegal, right,
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
them to pay for that stuff in Colombia, shouldn't the government then say, look, we're going to make it illegal? Because it seems like they're on the targeting of foreigners while ignoring or maybe they're not ignoring the
Hmm.
local men who apparently, from what I've seen, are the biggest, I guess, simps or people that patronize
Hmm.
prostitutes in Colombia.
Hmm.
Are you not aware of Colombian men that patronize many prostitutes there?
Yeah, many do. And actually, if you saw one of my shorts that I made to somebody else, I had a
Mm-hmm.
video where you had an adult services worker. She was outside
Yeah.
of a motel and she was yelling at some guy in the inside, and you see the police come up and she starts literally almost beating up the guy, saying that you need to pay me.
Mm.
I made that video on purpose because when you look closely and you can hear by the voice and the build, that woman is not really a woman. That's a transgender woman, meaning she was born a
Oh
man.
shit.
And she tells the cops that, hey, so and so didn't pay me. So and so brought me over and wasted my services and everything else. And guess what? The cops made them pay. So the thing is that
Okay.
most of Colombian society do not want to remove that. They do not want to make it illegal because they
Mm.
worked really hard to make it legal in order for them to have protected status in society. It could be better, but it's not that
Right.
bad. And here's the thing, though, because let's say if that
Okay.
adult
Well,
services
look.
worker,
Mm-hmm.
let's say the adult services worker is doing
No,
an
go
illegal
on, brother.
profession. She wouldn't have the ability to call the cops and ask them, because since I traveled to Cartagena, I have seen it where foreigners, they will come in, they don't want to pay the girl, she will call the cops and say, hey, so and so didn't pay me, and the cops will say, okay, you're either going to jail or you're going to pay. So that's the reason why. Remember when I was
Right.
talked about the Civil War? You have the conservatives and the liberals. The liberals managed to march and they worked really hard to make it a protected status in the Constitution. Now, keep in
Mm-hmm.
mind this: just because something is not considered morally acceptable, it doesn't mean that it's illegal, right? Or it doesn't mean because something is
Right.
considered illegal, it doesn't mean it's morally acceptable. The
Mm-hmm.
Colombian mentality has always been this: if you're going to do it, fine, do it away from public eye, away from kids, away from churches and everything else, as long as you have two consenting adults, right? And as long as you're not abusing each other, right? So That's the whole thing, because the major thing that I noticed with everybody who's always keeps attacking me is like, well, why don't you make it illegal if you're so upset about it? We're not upset that it exists. We're not upset that prostitution exists. That's not a thing. We're upset that certain people are abusing the people who are working in that, because those are the marginalized of society. Imagine if that person didn't have that ability to protect themselves, or at least go to the cops. You understand what I'm saying? And there's been
I
people
understand you
marching.
perfectly. Yeah.
If
Which
you
is which. Uh huh.
Mhm. If you saw one of my videos, I put up on one of my videos, which was about 2 years ago, there was a huge march protest in Medellin, in the Jeras Park, where the park where all the street workers hang out and stuff like that. And I showed them, and there was a lot of feminists walking, a lot of men walking, and I saw a video in Spanish from a different angle. And guess who was also marching with them? Adult services workers. And they asked her, say,
Mm.
hey, if this is your profession, why are you marching with them? And she says, I'm not marching against to make it illegal. I'm marching against to prevent the abuse of women. There has been many
Mm-hmm.
instances where men have, assaulted women because they didn't agree on certain things. If you look at some of my videos and stuff like that, what the guys should have done, instead of putting their hands on a woman and everything else, is they need to call the cops and resolve the issue. Because, like, for
Right.
example, in Cartagena, which is where my ex-girlfriend is from, a couple of guys, they rented a girl for adult services. They all had the terms with her and stuff like that. They offer her a price. She said a different price. So when the time came, they had a disagreement. So she took out her phone, and they were all drunk, by the way, and she was filming them, telling the people, these people are bad, don't contract them, because women, they protect themselves, and they have, there are groups of women who also do the same profession. So one of the guys, he slaps the hand out and slaps it out of her hand, which is basically hitting her, assaulting her. Irate, she slams the glass, and then she starts wrestling. They throw her out the door, all four of those guys, and they almost throw her down the stairs. Guess what happened? Because that was a residential Airbnb. The people who actually live there, they came out, they don't know what's going on, and they seen this woman on the floor, and then she's all messed up, and her boobs flying out everywhere else and stuff like that. And that became a huge scandal in the city. And people say, who the heck do these foreigners think they are? Coming here
Mm-hmm.
and hitting our women and doing this and doing that. And that was bad. And they were going to go out there, they were going after the mayor, and they managed to escape. Why? Because they paid off the cops. So that created a
Wow.
resentment. They created a resentment. So like my friend told me, even me as a Colombian, since I'm from the United States, right? If I were to go to Colombia in certain cities, because certain cities are untouched by passport bros, right? And they haven't, they have the image patterned. But certain people, certain cities like Medellin, Cartagena, the image is so bad that if you're a single male person walking down the street, they immediately think that you're even either a sexual deviant or a drug addict,
Mm-hmm. Right.
because of situations like this. And it's a small group that spoils for the bunch. What I'm trying to do is just tell people, say, hey, guys, learn how to calm down. Don't be abusive, and everything. And, maybe things will be a lot better. And for the people who tell me I'm not that type of person, you don't have to worry, because I tell people, if that's not you, why are you so worried about it? If you're not doing those things, why does it bother you so much? And that has always been my thing, like the white passport bro who keeps attacking me. Oh, I've seen you guys do it too. See, bro, you have legal prostitution in Las Vegas too. Don't give me that. And you can go
Right.
online and Craigslist and everything else. It's all over the United States, but that's not getting rid of it. It's not going to stop the abuse. And also, one important thing, I'm trying to keep people safe. You understand that? I'm doing this for your guys' benefit, not you, but the guys
Not
who
my
travel.
guys. I'm not them.
Yeah, right. But you
Yeah, I
understand,
understand.
right? For the guys who are watching this video, I'm doing this for your benefit. Colombia it can get very violent. We're one of the most polite people, but it can get very violent. Like about a few years ago, they had a national rebellion, because they were going to raise the taxes and everything else. Bro, it got violent. They were lopping off heads. There were bombs exploding. The whole nation had to put a stop to that. And let's say all it's going to take is one person. Doesn't matter what color you are, because for us, a gringo is a foreigner. Doesn't matter if you're
Yep.
black, if you're Chinese, if you're a foreigner, and it happens in every nation. Look at the J Relo situation in Kenya. If the foreigner
Ah, so
hit,
you know about Jay Rello. I wasn't gonna say his name, but
yeah,
he's like really making a bad name for
and he got
especially
chased out.
black
Why?
foreigners.
Right.
What do you know what he does though?
Yeah, I know what he does, because I have Jamaican friends. I have friends who travel. I have many friends who travel who are black travelers. I know this is one YouTuber whom I respect. He's a black male traveler. He's living in the city of Cali, Colombia. He married a Colombian wife. And he says the exact same thing. Like, bro, you guys need to stay quiet, calm down. Don't put everything out there. Stop getting into fights. Learn how to
Mm-hmm.
manage business. And that's all you got to do. And that's all I'm trying to do. So, and that rebellion that I'm talking about, when they were trying to rebel against the government, okay? In Colombia, they have something called a minga. A minga is when you have a group of collective of native indigenous tribes that get together for a common cause. And they went from the southern part of Colombia and they were marching all the merry way up to Medellin, and they got stopped in the city of Cali. Now, I want to let people know, whoever watches this, that the Native Americans in South America are not like the ones here in the United States. The
Mm.
ones down there, they're very fierce, and a lot of them carry AK-47s. They carry grenades because of the Civil War. They have to fend themselves off not only against militias but also against the government. Okay, imagine if they weren't able to be stopped, and they were marching all the merry ways, and they went into Medellin. Well, the passport bros are. They wouldn't know what to do, and even in Medellin, they became violent. So I'm trying to prevent things from getting bad, because it's going to take one instance, one particular event where somebody does something bad, and then they're going to start blaming everybody else, you know? And
Yeah.
that's basically what I try to tell people. Say, hey guys, be careful. That's not the place to. But people that scale the rule and they don't want to listen to me, you know?
Well, look, man. I was telling people to stop going to Colombia to be tricking, not only because they won't listen to the socio-economic aspect and the exploitation aspect. So I said, okay,
Uh-huh.
well, how about this? There's women out there that are literally targeting you to scope you. You know,
Hmm.
scopo la mina. Um, people are getting robbed, shot, killed. I'm like, it's not sweet. So if I said, imagine going all the way to another country just for buns, and while you're there, you're risking getting robbed. And I'm not trying to play the whole Colombia as that, but
Right.
I'm saying
I
the
understand.
places that they frequent, like Parquejeras,
Hmm.
and other places, right?
Your Spanish is
You
good, by
go
the way.
down. Oh, thank you. I speak Spanish. I learned it in New York City, and I lived in PR for a while. So,
Okay.
but yeah. So I'm like, you guys are dodging all these dangerous things just for buns, and buns that you gotta pay for. It's crazy to me. So I even went to try to shame them,
Hmm.
but you can't shame people who don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. So
Hmm.
I fell back from that whole like debating with them and pulling up on their panels, because I used to do that. I used to go on their panels and like just kind of like cook them and stuff like that. But you know, it's like telling a thief that stealing is bad. They don't care. They're going to continue to do it. So if it's not the police, if it's not the government, if it's not the scope, um, maybe something will change it. And if it has to go through legislation and more stringent checks at the air and land borders, then so be that. But I'm not for any child or any person from a status, a vulnerable status, to be exploited by people,
Right.
especially people with more money. With money comes control. So, people, they might not want to do something, and then they offer more money, and then once the deed is done, not pay. I've seen that in these YouTube streets.
Yeah,
They're
you don't
not
want that.
paying women, nah, but that's what they're doing. And then when they call the cops, they gotta pay like 4 times more.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say that.
yeah. So look, man, I now speaking to you and looking at more of your content while I was waiting for the link, I said, okay, um, I see you're fighting the good fight. I think people who call themselves passport bros would have an issue with you using that term. I really don't care because I'm not a passport bro, but keep fighting the good fight, man.
Appreciate it. It says here, Michael left me a comment. Says that Colombian women who business owners jobs, they're not going to play the nonsense in the United States. And that's the thing. I want to say a thing. I tell people, especially the guy named Army Guy Travels, who said he can steal my girl. Listen,
Hmm.
if you look at Spanish, since you're from New York, man, you know New York hustle. You know the New York women, they don't play. If a woman has the same amount of buying power as you, economic power, and when you get with a girl like that, it's because they choose you, not because they're forced
Right,
to. If
right,
if the economic leveling playing field was the same in Colombia, I can guarantee you, because there's Colombian women here and there's Colombian women in Colombia, and I guarantee you that these so-called passport bros, travelers, whatever, expats, whatever you want to call them, they cannot get the same women here over there, even if they are from the same country, because once a woman gets here, My ex-girlfriend, I brought her over from Colombia, and I told her, listen, you're going to have a lot of guys throwing themselves here. And I told her from the beginning, I make X amount of money, I do this, and this is what I got, everything else. But you're going to realize that once you're here, you have the same amount of economic power. Therefore, you can pick and choose. And this is why people get mad. You remember what you said about going to another country for buns? Like my brother always says, simping ain't pimping, right? It's not.
Early.
And it's not going to another country to get an adult services worker is not a flex. And because
Not
I
at
know,
all.
and you know that if those same women over there in those other countries that have the same economic power as they do here in the United States, they will not even look at you. You know?
You know, I agree with you 100% fully. Like for me, and I'm older than you, obviously, right? But I've been handsome my whole life.
I don't know, man. I'm
Uh,
hitting 50 soon.
oh, you are? Oh shit, you look damn good. No Diddy. I saw your gym stuff too because it was on one of the shorts. Keep
I
on
do
that
martial arts
process.
too. You should watch my
What
Kung
what?
Fu videos.
Oh, you do? What are you training?
I train number of different Chinese martial arts. I've done praying mantis, Wing Chun, northern long fist, Hong Ga, which is the southern five animals, Trolley foot, um, Tai Chi, 8 trigram boxing, and stuff like that. I price train with people who do MMA. Sometimes I do a little bit of wrestling. I'm trying to like do like some type of sparring session with a couple of wrestler guys around the corner. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. But Chinese martial arts, Kung Fu has been my main bread and butter for years.
So now check this out. Um, Sunday I just sparred a what do you call it? A Wing Chun stylist.
Mhm.
We've been trying to get this set for a year. I met him. He invited me to his because I'm in Europe. I'm Europe based now. I left America.
Okay.
He invited me to his gym, and then obviously a lot of people within Kung Fu, they like to theorize you to death, and
Mhm.
being respectful because he invited me to a school, I listened. Then we set
Mhm.
up something else. So Sunday, he tried the same thing,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll do this and I'll do that. I said, bro, um, I came here to spar.
Mhm.
I didn't come here for that lesson, so let's do it. Then all of a sudden, all the excuses came out, but we ended up sparring, and I said, look, when I show my Muay Thai, you see my push kick, you see my clinch, you see my footwork. I said, when I was sparring, I didn't see much Wing Chun. So
The
we're gonna
problem,
have a
if I can
better
add,
sparring, huh?
if I can add to that, the weakness in most Chinese martial arts nowadays is that they don't spar. They
Right,
don't do a lot of pressure testing. So yeah, they know the theory, but theory and fighting are two totally different things. You understand what I'm
exactly.
saying? Because
But
I've actually sparred people of different martial arts. Like the wrestlers around the corner, they were surprised at the things that I could do. I sparred Muay Boran, the older version.
right,
Sparred Muay Thai. But a lot of them, they're just into doing the movements or even just talking about it. Because I got a friend of mine that the only thing that he does is just forms. Like he could do jumps and he could do kicks and he could do like that. Man, put him in a ring. He lost. He won against Sancho. I'm not sure if you know what Sancho is, which is like the Chinese version of Muay Thai.
yeah,
And
Sanda Sancho.
yeah,
Yep.
he got completely murdered, bro. He kept on getting like kicked in the leg and everything else because that's an unfortunate reality in today's Chinese martial arts. That a lot of the arts are good because when I was with the guys that who did wrestling and they were surprised that I was able to do it. They asked me how come I've seen a lot of people who are not able to keep up or even to able to fight. And I told them that the Chinese have done it to themselves in a way that they
Mm-hmm.
only focus on doing the forms and all that kind of stuff. You need to pressure test. You need to put it in a real life scenario against a person who's not going to comply, you know? And a lot of people are
Oh,
afraid, you know?
dude, Ray, he tried to get me to comply early on Sunday. Like he was showing me something. I said, "Look, I'm not your uke. I'm
Uh-huh.
not gonna be your compliant partner." He says,
Right.
"Yeah, if you come with a right hook," and I
Yeah.
did it, and I said, "Okay, now what I want you to do is we're gonna activate. We're gonna walk into striking distance. Now show me that technique in real time."
Yeah, no.
And he failed. But if
Yeah.
you what I want you to do is have you ever heard of fight commentaries?
Yeah.
Okay, one of my videos is
Mm-hmm.
on his channel. It's Muay Thai versus Bagua.
Mm-hmm.
Bagua, which is Kung Fu. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of my fights. The one from yesterday, obviously they didn't want to record it when we started really moving. So I said, all right, whatever, we're gonna record it at a later date. But check that out. And I agree with you 100%. Look, Sanda and Sanshao is really the kung fu community saying, let's take the best and the stuff that works out of Chinese martial arts and create something that's battle ready. And that's why it's good. If you're gonna walk the circle and talk about straight blast, but then you have no idea of takedown defense, of clinch defense, kick catches and things like that, you're going to get your ass handed to you. And that's what's happened to a lot of Chinese martial arts. So, hey, man, I appreciate this conversation for real. I didn't know you were martial arts too.
Yeah, I've been doing it for like since 1997.
Damn. Oh, did you train in New York?
No, but two of my trainers train in New York. So I would say the New Yorkers are people who actually spar and actually fight. So that's another thing. At least the kung fu guys from New York, they actually get there in the ring and stuff like that. Everybody likes to talk, because my friend, I asked him, because my friend who came in from Michigan, he did a style called Tai Chi Praying Mantis, and I did 7-star Praying Mantis, and then I noticed he couldn't do certain things in sparring. He said, don't do that and don't do this, and I can't keep up with that. And I said, well, don't you spar? He goes, oh, my teacher says too deadly. I said, what?
Oh God.
Yeah. You know what the guy?
No, I hate that. Oh, my kung fu's too deadly. They tried that shit. They tried that shit on Sunday. I'm like, look, you can always bring down the level of deadliness in your kung fu, and I can always ratchet it up. I said, we're sparring. Let's just see the techniques. I said, I won't kick, not even at 25%, but we have to move. I said, this is how you make Wing Chun better. But he tried to say like, oh, we'll do 30-second rounds. I'm like, so you can try to straight blast me? No, I said, we'll do a 1.5-minute round. I said, we're both above our 50s, or we're both in our 50s, so let's just do that. He didn't really want to do it. He had all these other excuses. But just check out the Muay Thai versus Bagua. That's me.
I think I probably have seen it by the sound of it.
Yeah, you might not have known it was me, or you can go to my page of some of the videos, and you'll see
commentary breakdown. I know that guy.
Yeah. My fight is on his channel. If you go to his channel and look for Muay Thai versus Bagua, that's me.
Okay, all right, and stuff like that. And there, I can probably tag you in some of my stuff too. But yeah, like you're right. The majority of Chinese martial arts has dwindled. And when I was with the guys who actually saw somebody who can actually spar at least decently, and I think they asked me, which martial art do you think is the best? And I said every martial art is good. It just depends on the person who puts the effort behind it. You understand what I'm saying? Because the term kung fu means time and work, and people are not putting time and work. And if you don't want to spar, if you want to even spar people of other styles or even pressure tested, then what are you doing? You're just jumping around, and that's the thing that I told my friend. So, hey, that's just how it is. Hopefully it's going to force people to look at things more in a realistic type of sense, and more people will spar, and most people out there, because I've seen some kung fu guys that can actually fight and keep up with people of non-Chinese martial arts, but they're far few in between. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. There's a guy, MMA Shredded. He Comes from a kung fu background. He's really good. So he did what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? He just studied in a whole bunch of arts, and he uses, pieces of his kung fu in his sparring. So that's actually what you have to do, But yo, I'm gonna go in the house now because I gotta work tomorrow morning. It was great talking to you, speaking to you. We should collab more. If you want your channel to grow, just start tagging people and having them pull up, in conversations. And
I'll send you my martial arts video. See what you think.
I'm gonna do that as soon as I get in the house.
Yeah, but it was thanks for clearing things up, and it's good that we were able to talk and clear things up. Like I said, when I say passport bros, I'm not talking about in general. I'm just talking about a certain subgroup of people within that group.
Yeah. No, I understand, man. Thanks a lot for the combo, and then we'll link up on another time, okay?
All right. You take care.
All right. Yo, you too. Bye.